Hello, welcome to the Unstoppable Live Show. My name is Shanice Wise, and I am your business expansion coach and strategist. This is the show where we talk about business, we talk about mindset, and we talk about you. You being all the things that we go through as women in business, all the different loads that we carry, right? Being moms, being wives, significant others, caretakers, being in ministry, all the different things that we have to carry in business, right? Being a professional in your career and still running a business on the side. All the things that we juggle. That's what we talk about here on the Unstoppable Live Show. And so, hello. As you come in, please, in the comment section, just share your name, your business, and where you're joining from. What part of the country are you joining from? And let me tag in our guest. All right. All right. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unstoppable. And we talk about you. And so the Unstoppable Live Show has been going strong for a little bit now. And I'm so excited that it's, definitely reaching the masses. And we have people joining in and DMing me like, oh my gosh, Shanice, that was a great episode. I'm so happy you talked about this. I'm so happy you talked about that. And so the Unstoppable Live Show is really meant to help you as a woman grow in all your different areas. And so you can learn more about me by clicking the link in my profile. I've been running my coaching and consulting firm since 2008, and I teach business owners how to grow their visibility, increase their profitability, and improve their systems and their strategies. So as you're joining, please, in the comment section, put your name, the type of business you have, and where you're joining from. You never ever know who's watching. And so y'all know what we do on Tuesdays. We have beautiful, amazing guests. And so I'm so excited on this Tuesday. We have our special guest, Miss Danielle. Hey, girl. Hey.
Good morning. Good morning. And I normally, I have to like you because I do not get up this early. Okay.
Oh, I love you. I love your spirit. Listen, I am so happy that you like me, and I'm so happy that you're here. So, sis, take a second and just kind of introduce yourself. Who are you? I like to say, who do you be, and what type of business do you have?
Yeah, most definitely. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Danielle Reid, and I like to say a creative agency because we do everything when it comes to marketing and communication. So, everything from graphic design, website design, creative direction for videos, photo shoots, the whole nine yards. And so, I've been working in this industry for a little over 16 years and launched my own agency October the 1st, 2019, and I haven't looked back since.
That's awesome. Awesome. And so, since today's title and the topic is never give up on your dreams, okay, where did it all start with you? Like, why are you doing what you're doing?
Um, Two things. So for one thing, even when I was working for a big six agency, I always had business owners who would reach out to me and they'd be like, "Hey, I need help with this or help with that," or they'd be like, "Does this sound right for pricing?" And I'm like, "Well, the agency I work for charges like $1 million a month, so I don't know." But then so many of them were also like, "Hey, I've been trying to reach out to some agencies to get them to do some work for me, and does this price sound right? And I'm like, startups can't afford this. And for a lot of people, it would also be where, because they heard pricing from one company, they just assumed, oh, marketing is not real marketing is not affordable. And
Mhm.
so got really frustrated with my job. And I was like, okay, this must be a sign. And October the 1st, 2019, I walked out smiling. Like it got to the point where I was literally going to work every day and I would be sick to my stomach. I
Mm.
mean, physically sick, like, "Ugh, I hate going in here." And I think that was a sign because literally, I'm having migraines every day, and I'm feeling the tension between me and other members of leadership because when I'm asking them certain things, they don't know.
Mm.
or they don't have an answer. And so I'm like, And the final kind of factor was I knew my feelings were true one day when the CEO walked past my office and said, "Yeah, we finally got somebody in here who knows marketing."
Wow.
And I'm thinking, so you're basically telling your director of marketing that's sitting next to me and your VP of marketing, hey, y'all don't know what you're doing. And so that was really my changing point. And I knew off jump, who I wanted to help, because I've always had a spirit of giving back, especially within our community. And so I knew, okay, this is going to be my focus. And that's what I did.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So even going into your job, like what, let me rewind. Let me rewind. What do you like besides business? Tell us about Danielle's personal life. Like, who are you outside of marketing? Who are
Yes,
you?
outside of, I wear like many women different titles. So, being a mother, being that daughter that my parents depend on, being a friend, being a colleague, being a partner to people. And so I wear many
Yeah.
hats, and that can be a thing of balance too, because a lot of times when we're especially transitioning from corporate to
Mm-hmm.
our business, I know for me, one of the things in corporate that I always heard, they would actually get upset with me, like when I have pictures of my kids on my desk, and the male
What?
leaders would be like, "Oh, we don't do that here."
What?
Mhm.
Mm, mm, mm. Do you feel like you have to choose between, having a professional career and running a business?
I would say no. Um, I feel like as long as if your mind frame is right,
Mm-hmm.
you can do anything. It's the same as people saying, well, you can't have a career and a family, or you can't have all these things. If you're determined to do it, you can do it, So it really just depends on what you want to do. Even for me, I always had a part-time business in addition to um, my career. And I actually love that balance because I got to meet new people, touch new people, things like that. And so it really just depends on the person and knowing your time management more than anything else. But, I tell people too, like, for a lot of people, business ownership it's different. It's a whole different beast.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, they don't understand, well, hey, now you're not getting that direction from people. You have to create your own SOPs. You have to do all these
Come on.
different things. And for so many people, they really just don't. They're like, oh, I've gone from corporate to my own job. Now I have to create all of these things. And it can be a challenge for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It can definitely be a challenge. And I want to go back, time management. I really believe time management is the key. Um, because as women, we carry many loads. Like you said, we're mothers, significant others, caretakers, in ministry. Like there's so many different hats that we take. To the person that's listening, Danielle, what would you tell them about time management? Like, how can they effectively manage all the different things in their life and still run a business?
Hmm. I would say number one, give yourself grace when you're starting because it can be very different from when you're going to a straight 9 to 5. I have to leave the house by this time to get to work. I have to be there by this time. I know I have these things to do all day. When you're approaching that with your business and even with your personal life, like for me, I time block. And so I know like this past weekend, we had a lot going on. So I purposely blocked off my calendar this week to rest
Mm,
and reset.
rest.
Um, like even when some people get so caught up in the grind that they forget place structure
Mm,
into your schedule. And so thinking about, on Mondays, you're going to do like, I'm just throwing an example out there. It used to be on Mondays, all I did was new client follow up or potential lead follow up on Monday. Then on Tuesday was the only day I would accept like new client meetings. Wednesdays, I would do certain things. And so you kind of figure out what works for your schedule. But for me, one of the things I always do is that I always place a buffer in there so I can breathe. And so even when I'm looking at, like setting, even like calendar appointments and people say, hey, can you talk at this time? I will look at my calendar and I will say, no, but I can do this time here because that may be my breathing time to myself. Or that may be, I make sure I purposely put on there from this time to this time, I'm doing homework with the kids. And then I tell people, don't be afraid to actually abide by the boundaries that you put in place, because so many of us, we will say we have these boundaries on, we're not going to respond to emails on the weekends, we aren't going to respond to emails after a certain time, but we still find ourselves doing it. And so for me, it's about putting those boundaries in place and then actually abiding by them while also respecting other people's boundaries too.
I
Because
love
for a lot of us, we'll say, hey, we have all these boundaries. But then guess what? Especially in business, when you're a service provider, a lot of us will say we have boundaries, but guess what? We won't respect our clients' boundaries, or we won't respect our service providers' boundaries. It goes two ways.
it. Definitely go. You dropped so many dimes, and I really hope that everyone who's listening is taking notes. First, Danielle said you have to give yourself grace. And a lot of times I really believe that we're hard on ourselves. We want to accomplish, we want to achieve. That accomplishing and that achieve turns into hustle. And you really want to remove the hustle and just create consistency, be focused, be accountable. Time block, that's key as well. And that's what Danielle said. Make sure that you're blocking out time, like really managing your schedule, putting things in compartments, right? And giving yourself time to get things done. Rest and reset. Danielle did a live show on just self-care and what your self-care looks like. And that whole rest and reset is so important, because I don't know about you, Danielle, and I'm sure you could say you can. For me, I could work nonstop. Like, because I love what I do, I
Mm-hmm.
work non-stop, but that rest and reset is so important.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people, we confuse sometimes self-care with self-maintenance. Like there are certain
Boy,
things we have to do. Like, for a lot of business owners, when we first start, it's grind, 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 get it, get it, get it. And then they wonder why they are not fully focused because they aren't sleeping. It makes a major difference. I can tell when I look back at some emails, I can say, I must didn't have a lot of sleep that day or that night before. Like seriously, you can tell. Like
yeah.
because so many people do not read, and I will even tell some people, hey, I don't feel right today because I haven't been able to rest.
Mm,
And so I will not be doing certain tasks today. And so for a lot of people, they don't get it until they get it. Like when they look back and they're like, oh, this could have been much better, but I was not fully rested. And so getting those things like proper sleep, proper hydration, drink your water.
the water.
And for a lot of people, I tell them too, stop comparing your journey to others. We get so caught up in entrepreneurship and looking at the glitz and glamour that other people are putting out there, not realizing, number one, is it genuine? Not realizing, are they even being legit and honest
Mm,
about a lot of things? And so I always tell people comparison is a thief of joy, and your journey may not look like someone else's.
it's so beautiful. First of all, let's go back to this, and everybody should have wrote this down. Self-care, we confuse self-care with self-maintenance. Baby, that right there, like, self-maintenance is things that we just have to do. Self-care is that extra that we need to do, right? There's a difference
Mm-hmm.
between what we have to do and what we need to do. And, Danielle, I've really been focused on every quarter doing self-care. And that, like, for me, self-care looks like just a little traveling to get away. You know what I mean? Because I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and I'm on every day and then running my company. And so I love that. And so I think everybody should really write down what your self-maintenance is, what the things that you have to do, things you do, on a daily basis, your maintenance. You get your hair done, you get your nails done, you have to get rest. You know what I mean? That's maintenance. But that extra self-care. What is it that you want to do? What is it you desire to do? What's going to allow you to go away and get refilled so you can come back and be your best self? And so that's key. Oh my gosh, girl, you are just dropping some dimes. Everybody who is listening, I really hope that you are taking in. Danielle has said a lot of amazing things today. I want to go to dreams, right? And so, Danielle, the title is Never Give Up on Your Dreams. What would you say to the person who is listening and they're trying, like they're really trying to build their business, they're trying to stay focused, and it just seems like nothing's taking off, right? And they know that the Lord has put it in their spirit. They know that they're doing what God desires for them to do, but it's like nothing, it's like not working for them. What would you say to that person that's listening?
Mm. Like, I know for a lot of people, they think because they've been working at something so hard, they really don't realize maybe you need to take a step back.
Mm,
Sometimes you need to pause, and think about how can I approach this
mm,
differently. You know, for a lot of us, we tend to get so, like, even for me, and most business owners can admit this, that it is extremely hard for us to see the faults and what's wrong in our own businesses or in what we're doing. But it's easier for a person from the outside to talk to us, see what's wrong, and then tell us where we can make those improvements. And so I think for a lot of people, just take, if you feel like, hey, I'm going at this, but I'm not getting the results that I want, right? Take a step back,
mm,
pause,
mm.
and then go back at it again. Like for a lot of business owners, I taught a couple of classes for different industries where one of the things I talk about, regardless if I'm talking about marketing or whatever, is that I always ask them, have you looked at what your strengths and weaknesses are? Looking at those SWOT analysis.
Yes.
And a lot of them were like, no, I've never really done it. And I said, that can be the key to unlocking new doors and new potential and help you with a strategy to go the right way with your business. Because for so many people, they're trying to maybe serve a particular, population, but that may not be the population you're meant to serve. It may be a whole nother population set that you're meant to serve is going to open up bigger doors for you. And so for a lot of people, it's about really stepping back, observing what's my goal and how am I going to get there, and looking at it from where am I missing something?
Mm.
Where's that missing piece? And, for a lot of people, they're like, well, I had this dream, but, I'm getting older or whatever. And I'm like, people, for some reason, always think that 40 is that point
Mm.
where I have to have it done by this time. And I'm like, you're just getting your life started. You spent the first 20 years of your life as a child.
As a
You
child.
know, now you're learning who you are. Because when you think about it realistically, when you're in your 30s, you're becoming that person you want to be, right? You're learning, you failed, you've learned some lessons, you've done things. And so I always tell people, don't look at it like, oh, I have to get this done by 40. We tend to put these limitations on ourselves that we shouldn't. And so, I tell people it's never too late to start over.
Mm.
I'm a firm believer in that, and if you really want it, go for it.
I loved it. I mean, that was so good. That was so good. Y'all listening, that was so good. First and foremost, you're absolutely right. Like, I think about my 20s and, I was in college. I mean, I just, it's like a wash with the 20s. And in the 30s, you're becoming. And now me being in my 40s, I'm like, okay, I see it. I know where I want to go. I know what I want to do. And that goes back to what you said too, give yourself grace. But I love what you said. A lot of times we can't see what someone else can see. And that's why people need a you and a me. Me as a business coach, I tell my clients, you're not your own coach, right? You can help other people, but you're not your own coach. We can't always see what we need to see for ourselves. That's why you hire help. That's why you reach out to get other people who specialize in specific areas to help you as you navigate, right? Because one of the things may be you're not really speaking to your target audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you're coming up against wall after wall after wall because people are not really understanding who you are and what it is that you do. And so getting clear on your message, Who is your target audience? What do they look like? How do they operate? How do they feel? Making sure that your messaging really connects with them. And then the marketing, that's definitely where you come in, sis, because now making sure that, you're visible, right? Making sure that you're attracting. Marketing is about getting found. It's not about going to find. It is about
Mm-hmm.
you yourself, getting yourself out there so the right people will show up. So there's so many different factors. And so those of you who are listening and you're, excuse me, ready to give up and throw in the towel, before you do that, before you give up on your dream, you got to step back and pause, like Danielle said, and assess the seed. Are you clear? Are you speaking the right language? Have you invested in the areas that you need to invest in order to give yourself the visibility that you need? Running a business is not for a punk.
Yeah.
It is not. And there's a lot of people that get into the business game and become entrepreneurs and think that it's going to just voila. No, that is not how business works. You got to put some muscle in the game. And in the beginning, you might not see what it is that you want to see. Would you say
Yeah.
that was that like that for you, Danielle, at the beginning of your getting your agency up and running? How was the beginning for you?
I would say, of course, it looks way different than it looks now, right?
Yeah,
But just like most business owners, when you first start, it's just about let me just get people in through the door,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It was kind of a thing where I was just literally anybody who said they needed help with marketing at the time, my rates, of course, were way lower. But, um, you know, I was also working extremely hard. So, like a lot of people, I had this really low entry price
Mhm.
point just so I could get people through the door. And I ended up working extremely hard to show them, hey, this is the value that you're receiving, but I'm only charging you this because I just started. People don't value what they don't pay for.
Mm. Listen, y'all. What? Listen, that right there.
And of course, like most business owners, especially when they're in the process of scaling, because one thing I always tell people is, you have so many false narratives out there and people who just want to tell you things to take advantage of you because they know that for a lot, like right now, you have a lot of business owners that are struggling, right? And I tell people, well, the people who have legit businesses are not struggling. I can tell you, I know exactly the type of business owners that are, right? And so I try to tell people, like for me, I saw a post where these people said, "Oh, I've seen so many posts from business owners saying how this has been the roughest year that they've had. This is the roughest quarter." I'm like, baby, there is money out there.
Mm.
Even though we're dealing with inflation. Yes, literally every publication has released articles telling people they are about to spend money starting now through the end of the year because if you're running a sale, they're like, baby, I'm coming to get it. I don't care about inflation or not. And so you have people who think, oh, I'm doing something wrong. And I'm like, no, you just have the wrong people
Mm.
telling you things. And you're listening to these people who are telling you, oh, go get an LLC and you're going to be a millionaire by the end of the year. That's not how it works.
No.
They don't understand any business is a growth process. You don't go from 0 to 100,000. You don't do it. You go from 0 to 25 to 50 to 100. You have to grow to
Yes,
those seven figures. One, two, three. You have six numbers that come before seven.
absolutely.
And guess what? Every year may not be a good year. But if you do your business right, you should know, hey, here's my slow times. Here's how, these are ways I can pick up, how I can survive through the slow times. And hey, let me look back and see what my busiest times of the year are, what I did, and how I can replicate and duplicate that. And then guess what? Hire help
Mm.
to come in so that you can transition into that CEO role. Because I tell people, you are not a CEO if you are still doing everything with your business. You are not a CEO. You're a jack of all trades at that point, and you're hindering your business progress.
You are not a CEO. Since I have a workshop titled Simplify Your Business, Multiply Your Revenue as you move into the role of CEO. And you are not a CEO until you are managing other people. You are delegating, you are outsourcing, you are automating. This is so good. This is so good. You said people don't value what they pay for.
What they don't
What
pay
what
for, yeah.
they pay for. Yeah, people don't value what they don't pay for. And so that's something that, everyone really needs to think about. You know, people don't value what they don't pay for. And so it's important that in your product offerings that you have a solid pricing model, you know, and that you educate people on who you are and what it is that you do. And in the midst of all that, don't give up on your dream. If the Lord has put something in your belly and you know it is what you are supposed to be doing, you know that you're supposed to be out there teaching, educating, you know, whatever it is, don't give up just because in this moment it doesn't look the way that it needs to, because there's gradual steps in business, right? You have to take steps to get where it is that you need to go. And so this has been so good, Danielle. Thank you for getting up for me, sis. I just adore you. Thank you for getting up. And so tell everybody, Danielle, what is coming up for Danielle? What do you have going on?
Um, right now, honestly, this is kind of my rest and reset, especially around the holidays. Like for me and my team, we honestly take like a little break because I enjoy family time. I enjoy rewarding my team for good work. And so, like this week and next week, we have a bunch of events. Like we do a lot of corporate and nonprofit events. And so within the next 2 weeks, we're kind of slammed with it. But after that, you know, especially going into the beginning of the year, you know, we start to offer strategy sessions for, you know, for people who need marketing and communications with their business, who are looking to say, hey, I need a new website. I need all these things, you know. So December is kind of a really let us get prepared for 2024. Last week, we actually hosted a Black Friday and Beyond class, and it was phenomenal. Like, when I say it was fun, we talked about everything from retirement as an entrepreneur because a lot of us don't think about that. You know, we don't have that 401k to lean on, and a lot of us are just like, what do we do? And so we really just talked about the nitty gritty in business, you know, and I brought out different people from different areas, everything from how to hire contractors, how to hire the right part-time employees, all of those things, and telling them the legal implications of doing such, because when we get a business, so many people don't realize it's a lot of, it's not, it costs to be the boss.
It,
Okay. And, you know, talking about those taxes, paying the Department of Revenue, you know, so we make sure we don't get any liens out there and all that other good stuff. But coming up into the first of the year, we just really are focused on more strategy for the upcoming year for people. We're real, you know, we're assessing what worked really good. We also making sure that we, you know, I told you I'm not really that active on social media, but I'm getting better.
right.
So
You post, I was like, good to see you.
yeah, and so you know, it's really like for 2024. Like I've literally already been booked for some really big events, especially for crisis communications, because now so many business owners in certain industries are realizing they are not prepared for a crisis,
Yeah,
because they always think it's not going to happen to me. And so, you know, just looking at 2024 and helping business owners get prepared for their things. So around, you know, the holidays, we'll tend to, you know, do some special classes and things like that, to really help them out and prepare them so that they start 2024 off with the right footing.
I love it. That's wonderful. And so, where can everyone find you? What is the best way, you know, to follow you? I know you, I mean, girl, you got a presence on social media. I don't know why you're not on here more. But where can people follow you? How can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, they can most definitely. You can follow me on Instagram at I am Danielle Reid. It's a link in my bio that has our website where you can read more about me, interviews, my agency's website, all of that good stuff is in there for people to see. And you know, people that do, you know, email me or whatever the case may be. If even if I don't respond to it, a member of my team will, because of course delegation as a
That's
CEO. But you know, they can learn more about me and my firm and what we do in that link in our bio. They can read more about some of our work, some of our projects and things on our website, and you'll see me more on social media. I promise I'm going to post more today. Yeah.
that is awesome. So everybody, make sure. Oh, girl, this cough. Make sure you follow Danielle on our social media platforms. Make sure you definitely engage and look at all the different things that she has going on. You can follow the Unstoppable Live Show every day at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk business, we talk mindset, we talk about you. So make sure you follow the both of us, mark your calendars. And again, my name is Shanice Wise. I am your business expansion coach and strategist, and I teach business owners how to grow their visibility, increase their profitability, and improve their systems and strategies. Danielle, thank you for your time. Thank you for getting up this morning and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. So appreciate you.